how the finances work. I mean, a lot of time when these things are going on, I get questions asked that if you're investing in a trust, can you get the finance and how the things work? So I've got Liz Rutten here to present on that. Over to you, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. So I'm a specialist in finance. Been doing this for well over 25 years, and my area of expertise is complex lending. Complex lending is pretty much any of the investments that we spoke about tonight as well. So it does require a fair bit of strategies to make sure that the funding allocated to these sort of investments is set up correctly and understood correctly as well. One of the parts that I'll be covering, or a couple of the topics, borrowing against equity of your home. In the event you wish to purchase an investment property, there's always hurt money required, so that is pretty much a deposit, associated setup cost and other costs as well. Now with that, it can be extracted out of equity that you have in your property. It is pretty much depending on the lender that you run your home loan through or investment property through. Not all lenders are good in the equity release space. It is pretty much depending on their policy. So in the event that you have a lender that doesn't support you in extracting equity out of your property, it is very important to have the right financier on board, which can be a broker, like myself, or alternatively, any other person that you've been working with in the finance industry as well. If your lender doesn't restrict you from withdrawing cash to assist with the associated setup costs, then please by all means consider moving lenders to a financier that will cover you off to move forward in investing. The last thing you want is the lender to stop you from moving on to your investment property. How to be lender ready. Now there's two parts to it. One is having sufficient cash to do the deal, as we just spoke about, that is cash out. And the other one is setting up the appropriate structures, which is where Nitin comes into play as well. So Nitin and I work very closely in that regard. We've known each other for, about 10 years now. And it is quite crucial from the outset to be market ready, having the structures in place, having the equity, the deposit in place to, for instance, invest in any of these facilities. A couple of tips on improving borrowing capacity. One is credit cards. They can be a drain on borrowing capacity. Sometimes I ask clients to reduce limits or cancel them, if that can be done. And quite often I get the comment that they give me frequent flyer points, but they stop you from investing into a property which probably will be able to allow you to afford a trip. So please have a look at, together with your funder, reducing credit cards. And the other ones is discretionary living expenses. They pretty much have been a hot topic. Every now and then it pops back up again. It is discretionary, and usually I do discuss with the client, or any financier discuss with the client, whether it can be and should be curbed, because ultimately if it means that you can't invest because of your discretionary expenses, I'm quite sure that most people are prepared to cut back on discretionary expenses. The other one is, oh my gosh, I forgot the third one now. There was 3 tips that I had. Now I've gone blank, I'm sorry. Credit files, that's the other one as well. So Equifax is the organisation that has the credit files, and it is probably a good idea to ask for your credit file up front before you do any investments. Your financier can ask for a copy. You can get a copy yourself as well. They are free through Equifax, and please only use Equifax. Don't use any other third-party provider, because technically you are uploading your identity, including your driver's license, and pretty much it isn't guaranteed where that information may go, so please only use Equifax. And on there may be some surprises that we may need to cover off before we do the lending in order to indeed improve borrowing capacity. And that's pretty much all I have for today.